Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I never know what time of day I'm talking to you. This morning I'm on my way to meet a contractor that I've done a lot of work for in the past. His name's John. And he's got a fireplace in his own house and it's failed. One of the techs went out and looked at it and said it's done. Parts aren't available. So there's nothing we can do with that one. Now this is a built-in unit, meaning the original unit was put in and then someone framed all the way around it, did the nice finish on it, and it vents directly out through the wall. So it'll be interesting to see. I've never been into John's house and see what he's looking for there. Choices you can have with fireplaces. But fireplaces are not about heating your home. They have very little to do with it. Now they make your home feel warm, cozy, comfortable, all the feelings that come up when people think about fireplaces. But they're not put in to heat. They make nice backup heat, especially for a living room area or someplace a little more intimate. But they're put in for the view and for the look, and so that people can really enjoy just spending time in that area. With fireplaces, there's a lot of things that can affect the comfort level. When you turn on a fireplace, it heats up an area, and if your main thermostat that controls your central heating system, it can make other parts of the house colder. It can stop the thermostat from turning the furnace on, so you're nice and warm in one spot, but maybe the bedrooms in another part of the house are cold. If you have children, maybe they're in their bedrooms playing on their devices and they're freezing because the fireplace is on. The other thing about them is they're not really classified as a heating device. They're meant just to give you a feeling. So they're not all that efficient either. Most fireplaces are operating around 60% efficiency. Now, don't write in the comments, my fireplace is a whole lot more efficient than that. Some of them are more efficient, but in generally, they're meant to be something nice to look at. Fireplaces tend to make a home look warm even when they're not on. Builders put the fireplaces in because they know it's easier to sell the home. Homeowners look for fireplaces because they feel that the house is going to just be more comfortable. And they're right. You've probably walked into a home and the fireplace is flickering and that area looks so much warmer. Sometimes you get up close to it and you find out it's just a backlight and it's an electric fireplace and the heater elements are not even turned on. You've probably seen where at Christmas time people turn the channel on the television that have the wood burning fireplace crackling, and it gives you that Christmas feeling. So fireplaces are about a whole lot more than just a device that you put in that may give you some heat in a small area. When we go to replace these fireplaces that are built in like this, quite often all of the surround that was built in around it comes up almost to the metal framing near where the glass area is, but the actual fireplace is a whole lot bigger. It goes back a long way. There are fireplace companies out there that's all they do. They're not heating and cooling companies, they're fireplace companies. And they specialize in making these fireplaces look beautiful. The actual fireplace, the mechanical part, is just a small part of the fireplace, but the wood trims and the finishings and everything else that you can get are what they're really selling. So when you're looking for replacing a fireplace, you have to ask yourself, or ask the person that comes to see you, how much work is going to be involved in this? And what kind of finish do I want to be left with? Some people are perfectly satisfied with doing their own carpentry. They're creative and they love to do that. And all they want us to do is the fireplace, and they want to redo the room. They want to make everything look modern and to their taste. Sometimes I get people that are a little older, retired, and they're done with all that kind of stuff. They don't want to do that anymore. All they want to do is hire a company, choose from the pictures and the options that are available, and then come back when the work's all finished. Actually, where I am, we see quite a bit of that, because sometimes this is their second property. I'll send them all the information, the pictures and all the details, and they'll say, I want that one. That's the one we pick. And by the time they come back to their second property, it's finished. We, of course, send them videos and pictures when the work is done, but they don't really get to experience it until they walk back into their property. And they're always excited. Other things to think about when you're looking at fireplaces is there's a lot of options. So when you're trying to decide on a fireplace, there's a lot of options, like how's the flame going to look? How's the logs going to be? What's the background like? What's the surround like that comes with the fireplace? Used to be brass was a popular thing. You don't see brass anymore, and I don't know if that's ever going to come back. Actually, I kind of hope it doesn't come back, but I'm not a decorator and the styles change all. Then there's things like blowers. Some people want blowers, some people don't. Some people order them installed and they never turn them on. You can most of the time dial them up and dial them down, because sometimes they're a little noisy in a smaller area. And a lot of times the blowers now can be controlled with the remote. And the remotes are a really popular thing now. It used to be you just had a thermostat on the wall and you turned your furnace up or down, or sorry, you turned your fireplace up or down. Then they got into switches right on the wall, sometimes no thermostat at all, just on and off. That was the way the builders did it. It was cheap and it was simple. You want fire, you hit the switch. You want no fire, you turn it off. And then wireless remote controls became very popular. And then they have the thermostat built into them. And depending on the model of fireplace and the controller you have, you can have a lot of control or you can have just a little bit of control. Most of what I see, people just want it to come on and off automatically, and they want it set for a certain temperature that they can change. That's all there is to it. So that keeps it pretty simple, but pretty useful as well. I wish I had a funny fireplace story to tell you, but I can't think of one. I just finished up with John in that fireplace. The fireplace was only put in 3 years ago. He's a builder, and there's no warranty on this fireplace. Our service tech had a look at it and found that there was a little bit of gas. John's wife noticed it first, but he used a sniffer on it. And then when it light up, it would delay, and then it would kind of poof, which means there was a bit of gas buildup somewhere. So he doesn't want to fool around with this. He just wants it replaced. I guess he got it on a pretty good deal. And he had one of the guys that used to do some heating and cooling stuff for him and Fireplaces put it in. But the guy didn't use the proper materials when he was installing it. Our job is going to be to source one that fits, because the tile around this fireplace, John said, was very expensive and very hard to get. And he's hoping he doesn't need to replace that. Quite often with fireplaces, the firebox is a lot bigger than the metal that you see. So you install the firebox, get it all connected. John did share with me the pictures during construction and also a lot of the measurements he had, which makes my job a lot easier, because I've got to find one that's going to fit in there and allow him to keep most of the stonework that was put around it. I'll see what I can find out. I'll see what I can source. I have no idea what the cost of this is going to be. I'm trying to keep it as conservative as I can, which I always do, but the sizing is going to be the real issue. And I know John told me how much the tile was, but if the labor is going to be so much more for us to try and fiddle around and make it so he doesn't have to change that tile, it might be cheaper just to retile it with the stonework that he likes. That's all I know about that situation. Maybe I'll be able to add more to this later, or maybe we'll just move on to something else. Well, that's it for this clip. So stay warm or stay cool, but at least stay tuned.